So if you guys missed the stream yesterday, we were streaming for about 14 hours. And during those 14 hours, we were using one build that allowed us to solo the new Krampus bounty on Heroic every time. We also did this in group play. This build has so much survivability, has enough damage for you to just shred everything. And obviously, you might have seen this build on this channel or on my main channel in the past because it is the Backfire Striker Has Pro build. Now, if you guys don't know how to set that build up, well, I'll be showing you guys a full build breakdown, but I did want to show you the bounty and just show you how easy it was to take these enemies down with this build. So we'll show you the full bounty. It doesn't take us long, about 3 minutes or so, and then we'll do the full build breakdown. I'll even show you how you need to make sure you use the global modifiers because we do have 100% has protection on this build, and we'll have the full build breakdown for you guys. So if you guys are ready, enjoy this, and then we'll have the build breakdown right after this. Is it above? There we go.
That's the target agent. Backup request.
Survivability is there too. I want the chainsaw, man. They should have gave us a chainsaw.
Target spotted.
Let me run up on some people. Gears of War them. Stop chasing me, man.
Got the target. Nice.
New specialization chainsaw. That could be it. Give us a chainsaw. Chopping people up. And that is it right there. The bounty's pretty much over. All I gotta do is go to the top. I'll be rewarded the Krampus mask and 1 winter key. So if you guys want to see how I have this build set up, I'll first talk about the global modifiers and what you need to know about them so that way you can make the most of this build here. So we know the global modifiers are all built around our companions, but if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see something called passive recruit bonuses. And I actually talked about this in my previous video of my last build. And if we read this, it says, while the global modifier is active, recruited companions grant passive bonuses. Even when no companion is spawned, these bonuses are doubled when the player has no active companion. So if you notice, we're looking at assault recruits, medic recruits, and engineer recruits. Now, some of you guys might have 0 out of 10. Some of you guys might have 5 out of 10. Depending on how many assault recruits you have recruited over time, you should have that number here. So you can see I'm at the max of 10 of 10, assault, medic, and engineer. So for the assault is you get 1.5% weapon damage each of 10. That's 15% total. Medics, you get 2% each of 10. That's 20% total hazard protection, and the engineers get 15% skill efficiency. And remember what I mentioned a second ago? This is all doubled when you don't have a companion active. So that means you can get 30% weapon damage, 40% hazard protection, and 30% skill efficiency, as long as you do not have a companion spawn. And how do you not have a companion spawn? Well, all you would need to do is make sure your active modifier looks like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to spawn one of my companions so you can see what my stats would be. So you can see we have an active modifier here. So you can see right here, we have a companion currently active. Now, if we were to look at the stats, you can see we have 80% hazard protection on the build, right? And that's because we do have our companion active. Now, to not have any companions active, what you need to is go to the active modifier and you just have it so there is no check. Then what you would do is you would back up. Now you see no companion is attached to me. Let's check out the stats. And now you see we gain the extra 20%, right? Because you get 20% when you have the companion active, and then you get another 20%, right? Because it's double, so 40%. And now we're sitting at 100% hazard protection. And that would be the same thing you would see with your damage numbers. And this is why we are able to put out an insane amount of damage, have an insane amount of survivability, and have 100% hazard protection on this build because of that one modifier there. So what tweaks did I make to my build to make it stand out this season? Let's break it down all now. So we are running the Backfire Exotic SMG with 1020 RPM. We do have 50 in the magazine and 117,000 total damage. Now, to get the full potential of the build, I did put this at 30 expertise, but I originally was playing it with 15%. Now, we do have SMG damage, crit chance, and damage targets out of cover, and the talent on this weapon is what makes it perform so well, and the reason why we do need hazard protection. So it's called Payment of Kind. Dealing damage to enemies adds a stack of 2% critical hit damage up to 100 stacks. That means you can have up to 200% critical hit damage on your build on top of whatever critical hit damage you already have stacked here. Now on reload, it does apply 10-second bleed to yourself, but remember, since we have 100% hazard protection, it doesn't affect us at all. Now the mods on this are crit chance 15%, 15% crit damage, 20 rounds, and 10% stability. For the secondary, I am using the Stack Broker, which is a named ACS because of the higher rate of fire that the Stack Broker comes with. The stats on this have shotgun damage, damage to armor, and damage to targets out of cover. And you can run whatever talent you want. I am running Preservation for the extra survivability. Remember, killing enemy repairs 10% of my armor over 5 seconds. If I get a headshot, that gives me additional 10%, so that's 20%. And then the Gunner class gives me 10% on top of that. Now, the gear set I am going to be running is one of the meta gear sets, Striker. We do have the 2-piece that gives us 15% weapon handling, 15% rate of fire for the 3-piece, and the 4-piece weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65% up to 100 times. Now, the first piece of Strikers is the mask. We have armor on here, hazard protection, and a critical hit damage mod. You're going to see hazard protection on every single one of the Striker pieces. Our second piece of Strikers is going to be the holster. We have armor and hazard protection. Our third piece of Strikers is going to be the knee pads with armor and hazard protection. And our fourth piece of Strikers is going to be the gloves with armor and hazard protection. Now for the chest piece, we are going to be running the new name chest piece Equalizer. This is part of the new unit alloys brand set. So the one piece is going to give us 5% rate of fire. We have weapon damage on our crit chance, hazard protection, a critical hit damage mod, and then this comes with the talent Perfect Obliterate. So critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds. Now this stacks up 24 times. So essentially adding an additional 24% weapon damage to this build. Now the increased rate of fire and having Perfect Obliterate works perfect with the Backfire SMG because you already have a ton of crit, you're gonna have a ton of crit damage, and a crazy amount of survivability because of the Memento backpack. Now, obviously, this comes with weapon damage, armor, skill tier. We have a critical hit damage mod, but kill confirm is what's going to make this build shine because remember, we have a short-term buff of 10 seconds. When we pick up a trophy, we're going to gain an additional 10% weapon damage, 50% bonus armor, and 5% skill efficiency because we do have 2 red cores, 5 blue cores, and 1 yellow core. Now, on top of all of that, when we have max stacks, as you guys are seeing, that's an additional 30% skill efficiency, 30% weapon damage, and 3% armor regen. And that's why this build has an insane amount of damage with an insane amount of survivability and might make a run for the meta build for this season. But it is very early on, so I don't want to dive into that just yet. But this is actually an amazing build. It was an amazing build 2 seasons ago, and it's even better now. If we take a quick look at the stats, you'll notice we have 52% crit chance, 95% crit damage. Now remember, this is on top of the 200% critical hit damage we're going to have for being max stacks on the Backfire. Plus, we have 100% hazard protection stacked on this build, which protects us from all of those status effects you typically would be affected by. And I'm telling you, this is honestly one of the builds that I fell in love with 2 seasons ago, and now it even got better, especially with the new brand set, name chest piece, having more rate of fire, having extra damage, and having some hazard protection has made this one of my favorite builds for this season. Now the season is still very young, so we still got some time to wait, but being able to have a ton of survivability, a ton of damage has made this one of my favorite builds for year 7 season 3. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about the build. How would you guys tweak the build, and have you guys been running hazard protections this season? But I'm gonna wrap up this video, so see you in the next one. Hey, nothing but skills is out.